"This thing 3 times a day?" asked the Apache girl, because that's what the cowboy told her she had to do the moment he brought her onto his land. Dust swirled across the empty ranch yard as she gripped the edge of the old water trough, her breath shaking in the cold morning air. She thought he wanted to punish her, but his next move wasn't punishment at all. It was something far stranger, something that would change both of their lives. And when she realized the real reason behind his demand, nothing in the West would ever feel safe again. What was this mysterious task he forced her to repeat? And why did he need her to do it? The wooden trough creaked under the weight of the girl's trembling hands, its surface worn by years of sun, wind, and cattle that no longer came. Morning light washed over the barren ranch yard, catching on drifting dust, on the quiet barns, on the distant shapes of circling birds. The cowboy stood behind her, silent, boots planted in the dirt, the brim of his hat shadowing a face shaped by too many hard seasons. Neither of them moved, neither spoke, only the wind filled the space between them. He had brought her here at dawn, long before the sun cleared the ridge. She didn't know why. She didn't know anything about his land except that it felt empty, forgotten, like a place where lost things were kept. When he pointed to the trough and told her she must perform this thing 3 times a day, she braced for humiliation, for cruelty, for whatever price the world demanded from a girl who had already survived too much. But his tone held no anger, only a strange resolve, and a deeper sadness she couldn't read. The trough water was cold. She could smell the faint mineral bite of the well, the dryness of the morning, the tired wood that framed the basin. Beneath her fingertips, splinters pressed like tiny reminders that this place was not meant for comfort. She felt the cowboy step closer, not in threat, but in the way someone steps forward when bracing for a truth they cannot avoid. Around them, the land stretched wide and indifferent. Old fences sagged along the corral. A broken wagon wheel leaned against a post. Nothing here seemed alive except the wind and the 2 lone figures standing in its path. The girl listened, waiting for explanation, for command, for the punishment she feared but refused to show. Instead, the cowboy reached down, lifted a wooden ladle, and dipped it into the trough. Water spilled over the edges, catching sunlight in brief flashes. He set the ladle in her hands, gently, almost carefully. She had expected force, but received something else entirely. The girl's breath hitched. The cowboy hesitated. There was a reason for this task, something buried beneath silence, beneath guilt, beneath secrets. Neither of them were ready to face. A sound broke across the yard, a sharp metallic clatter from the barn behind them. She froze. So did he. The day had barely begun, and already something was coming for them. The metallic clatter rang again, sharper this time, echoing across the barren yard. The Apache girl stiffened, fingers still curled around the wooden ladle the cowboy had placed in her hands. The morning air shifted, cooler, as if the land itself paused to listen. The cowboy stepped in front of her, one quiet stride, boots grinding over dust. "Stay behind me," he said. His voice carried no panic, only a firm warning forged from habit. The girl lowered her head just enough to hear better. A soft scraping followed, like wood dragged across stone. She could sense distance through sound, feel vibration in the ground, a skill sharpened by years of survival. "That's close," she whispered. "Yeah," he replied, "too close." Wind nudged loose straw from the barn doorway. The boards, old and warped, shuddered slightly. Something moved inside, slow, deliberate. Not animal fast, not wind fast. Something else. The cowboy reached toward the post beside the trough, fingers brushing the handle of a worn tool, a pry bar once used for wagon wheels. He lifted it with a quiet breath. "You expect trouble?" she asked. "I expect the world to bring it," he answered. Before the noise in the barn, he had intended to explain the strange task he required from her. 3 times a day, he'd said earlier, but little more. She still didn't know why. She still didn't know what he wanted from her beyond this morning ritual by the trough, but something in the way he watched her, not hungry, not cruel, told her the task wasn't punishment. It was preparation. For what? She didn't yet understand. He stepped toward the barn. "Stay here." Her grip tightened on the ladle. No. That single word surprised him. It's not safe, he said. It won't be safer alone, she replied. He studied her for a long moment, longer than wisdom allowed. Her stance wasn't defiant, just steady. She had lived through harsher mornings than this one. Fine, he murmured, but stay close. They moved across the yard, gravel crunching beneath their steps. A crow cawed overhead, wings cutting the sky. The barn loomed larger with each pace, its faded red siding peeling like old bark. The air cooled the farther they walked, as if shadows gathered anticipation. Another scrape, another clatter. The cowboy stopped. "Show yourself," he called. "Now." Silence answered. Then, slowly, the wide barn door edged open from the inside, not pushed, not pulled, nudged, as if something brushed against it accidentally or tested its weight. The girl whispered, "It's not an animal." "How do you know?" No breath, no pattern, just movement. The cowboy didn't question her. He'd already seen that she noticed things others missed. He tightened his grip on the pry bar. "If it's a thief," he whispered, "they picked the wrong place." The girl's eyes scanned the dust around the barn opening. Boot prints. Fresh. Deep in some spots. Shaky in others. Like whoever made them struggled to stay upright. "Someone hurt," she murmured. The cowboy frowned. "You can see that? I can feel weight in the ground, heavy, uneven." He blinked, taken off guard. "That's something. It's what kept me alive," she said. Another scraping sound dragged through the dim barn interior. A shadow moved behind the half-open door, thin, staggering. The cowboy called out again, "Come out slow, hands where I can see." A weak voice answered, rough and breaking, Don't shoot." The girl flinched at the desperation in it. A man stepped forward, limping heavily, one hand gripping the doorframe. His clothes were torn at the shoulder, stained along the ribs. His face was pale beneath layers of trail dust. The cowboy raised the pry bar slightly. "What are you doing here?" The man swallowed hard. "Needed help. Water. Anything." He nodded toward the trough. "Didn't mean to scare you." The cowboy didn't lower the tool. "You came into my barn," he said. I collapsed," the man stammered. "No harm meant." The girl studied him, brow tightening. Something felt wrong, offbeat. His steps, his breathing, the way he favored his left side. She whispered, "He's lying." The cowboy didn't look at her. "You sure?" "Yes." He stepped closer to the stranger. "What really brought you here?" The man's jaw tightened. "I told you—" "No," the cowboy cut in. "Try again." The stranger's eyes flickered. Fear, calculation, then something colder. His voice dropped. "There's a reason I came here," he said. "And you're not going to like it." The cowboy's muscles tensed. The girl's heartbeat quickened. Wind pushed open the barn door wider, revealing deeper shadows behind the stranger, shapes neither of them had noticed before. The man took one shaky step forward, and something moved behind him, something larger, something breathing. The girl grabbed the cowboy's sleeve. "There's more," she whispered. The cowboy raised the pry bar. The barn went silent. Something inside inhaled, and the trough water behind them rippled, even though no wind touched it. The ripple in the trough widened into a faint circle, trembling outward until it touched the wooden edges. The Apache girl stepped back, her fingers tightening around the ladle as if it were a shield. The cowboy didn't turn. His eyes stayed locked on the barn's dark interior, but the shift in the water changed everything. "That wasn't wind," she whispered. "No," he muttered. It wasn't. Inside the barn, the wounded stranger froze. His shoulders rose in a sharp inhale, as though he too had heard or felt whatever pulled the air through the shadows behind him. The cowboy raised his voice. "Step aside." The stranger shook his head. "You don't understand." "Move," the cowboy said, reluctantly, trembling. The stranger shifted just enough to reveal the darkness behind him. The girl leaned forward, breath caught in her throat. At first she saw nothing. Then movement, slow, heavy. A shape hunched low, like a man carrying far too much weight. The cowboy's jaw clenched. "Who is that?" The stranger hesitated. He followed me. Why? A pause. To finish what he started. The cowboy exhaled through his teeth. Of course. The Apache girl tugged his sleeve. Why the water moved? It reacts to weight, he whispered. Or fear. The shape moved again, dragging one boot along the barn floor. A faint metallic sound followed. Chain, perhaps, or spurs. The cowboy stepped forward instinctively, placing himself between the girl and the barn doorway. No closer, the stranger warned. The cowboy ignored him. Come out, he called. Both of you. A low groan rolled from the shadows. Not pain, not exhaustion. Something else, something that vibrated in the boards beneath their feet. The girl whispered, This land remembers things. He glanced at her. What kind? Things that should stay buried. The stranger staggered forward, gripping his ribs. He's not here for you, he rasped. He's here for me. Why? The stranger's eyes darkened. I broke something that belonged to him. Before the cowboy could press further, the figure in the barn shifted fully into view. A man emerged, tall, thick-shouldered, coat torn at the sleeve, hat pulled low enough to shadow his eyes. His boots scraped the dirt with each uneven step. A length of broken rope hung from his left wrist like a severed leash. His breathing was ragged, animal deep. The cowboy's voice tightened. You brought a convict to my land. The stranger winced. He wasn't a convict when I met him. And now, he's something worse. The girl whispered, He carries anger. The cowboy nodded. Looks that way. The larger man stepped into the light. His face came into focus, bruised, dirt-streaked, eyes burning with a cold fire. He exhaled sharply, and the trough water behind them rippled again. The cowboy frowned. How is he doing that? The stranger swallowed. He can't breathe right. Makes the ground shake. The explanation didn't convince the girl. She shook her head. No, that's not breath. That's memory. The cowboy wasn't sure what she meant, but her voice held a certainty he'd learned not to doubt. The larger man pointed at the wounded stranger. You run, he growled. The stranger flinched. I had to. You stole from me. I borrowed, the stranger whispered. Then I lost it. The cowboy stepped between them, pry-bar lifted. Settle this off my land. The larger man's gaze slid to the Apache girl. This your place now. The cowboy didn't respond. She held the ladle tighter. This land watches him, she whispered. The larger man's eyes narrowed, studying her as if seeing something others missed. He took one step forward. The cowboy's arm rose. One more step, he warned. The man ignored him. The trough water rippled again, this time harder, splashing against the sides. The girl's breath hitched. It reacts to him. Why? The stranger spoke through clenched teeth. Because what I stole is inside that trough. Silence dropped like a hammer. The cowboy whipped around. In the water. The stranger nodded weakly. He hid it there first, buried it under dust and boards. I tried to take it before he came back. What is it? The cowboy demanded. The stranger didn't answer. The girl lifted the ladle, eyes fixed on the trembling water. It wants out, she whispered. The cowboy's grip tightened on the pry-bar. You put something dangerous in my well. Not dangerous, the stranger said. Desperate. The larger man stepped forward, 2 strides now, close enough that his shadow swallowed the ground at their feet. Give it back, he growled. The yard went still. The wind stopped. Even the birds fell silent. The girl peered into the water. Something shimmered beneath the surface, faint, like a flicker of light trapped below. She whispered, It's moving. The cowboy leaned closer. What is? The water stilled. Then, a pale shape rose from the darkness beneath, drifting upward faster than thought. The cowboy jerked back. The girl gasped. The stranger staggered, and the larger man smiled slowly, terribly. The surface broke. Something breached the trough, small, wet, glinting in the morning sun. And then it opened its eyes. The pale shape lifted fully above the waterline, small enough to fit in 2 hands, yet glowing faintly under the morning sun. Its tiny chest rose and fell, in quick shivers. Droplets slid down smooth skin, tracing lines like cracks in old stone. The Apache girl froze. "That's not an animal." The cowboy stepped closer, pry-bar raised. "What am I looking at?" the stranger whispered. "Mercy." The larger man laughed once, a brutal, low sound. "Mercy, you call that mercy?" The stranger swallowed. "It needed saving." "From me?" the larger man snarled. The creature blinked again, slow and heavy, as though unused to light. Its eyes were a soft amber, almost human in their searching confusion. The girl stepped forward instinctively, drawn by something she didn't understand. "Don't touch it," the cowboy warned. "It's scared," she said. "So am I," he muttered. The stranger pressed a hand to his ribs. "It's harmless." The cowboy shot him a glare. "Everything's harmless until it isn't." "No," the girl whispered. "He's right. It cries in the water." The creature lifted a tiny hand, no claws, no fur, just delicate fingers that trembled as they reached toward the air. It let out a faint sound, almost like a breathy whimper. The cowboy's voice softened despite himself. "What is it?" The stranger exhaled. "A child." The cowboy recoiled. "That's no child I've seen." "Different tribe," the stranger murmured. "Different people." The larger man stepped closer, boots sinking into dust. "It belongs to me." The cowboy turned sharply. "You brought that thing here?" "No," the larger man growled. "He stole it." The girl's eyes widened. "Why keep it in water?" The stranger answered quickly. "It calms him. Keeps him breathing." "Breathing," the cowboy echoed. "Yes," the stranger said. "He's not strong on land, not yet." The creature whimpered again, gripping the trough's edge weakly. Its skin shimmered like sunlight on river stones. Not dangerous, only fragile. The girl stepped forward. "It's cold." The cowboy grabbed her arm gently. "Careful. He's shaking." "I know." Against instinct, the cowboy dipped 2 fingers into the trough water. It was freezing, far colder than any well should be at dawn. "What did you put in here?" he whispered. The stranger lowered his gaze. Salt, clay, river dust, everything his mother used. "His mother?" "She died," the stranger said softly. "He didn't." The larger man's jaw tightened. "He stole my son." The cowboy stared at the creature, stunned. "That's your boy." "He is," the larger man snapped. "And he's mine to bury." The girl recoiled. "Bury?" "Yes," the larger man said. "He was born wrong, weak. Not meant for this world." The creature whimpered at the harsh tone, shrinking back into the water. Ripples shook harder, splashing against the trough edges. The cowboy stepped between the girl and the larger man. "You came to kill him." "To return him to the river," the larger man muttered. "Where he belongs." "That's killing," the cowboy said. "That's mercy," the man barked. The girl shook her head. "No mercy in fear." The larger man's face darkened. "You know nothing of my tribe." "I know pain," she whispered, "and I know when someone hates what he made." The cowboy glanced at the creature again. Its tiny chest fluttered, each breath quicker than the last. "He's fading," the cowboy said. "He needs warmth," the girl insisted. "No," the stranger said suddenly. "He needs the opposite." The cowboy frowned. "Explain." "He overheats fast, needs cold water. It's how his people survive." "He has people?" "Across the desert," the stranger said. "Deep canyons, hidden pools." The girl's eyes softened. "A water tribe." "Yes," the larger man spat into dust. "Stories, lies. He's a curse." The creature let out a sharp cry, weak but desperate. The Apache girl reached toward him with trembling fingers. "I can hold him," she whispered. "No," the cowboy said. "Yes," the stranger insisted. "He knows her." "Look." And it was true. The creature leaned slightly toward her hand, tiny fingers stretching just enough to touch her wrist. The girl gasped softly. "He's warm now." "He recognizes safety," the stranger whispered. The cowboy frowned. "Or he's drowning." The stranger shook his head. "No, he's choosing." The larger man took a step forward, fists tightening. "Give him to me." The girl backed away instinctively. shielding the creature. "No." The cowboy planted his boots. "You're not touching him." The larger man's voice dropped into something cold and final. "He is mine by blood and law." The cowboy gripped the pry bar. "You don't decide law here." Wind rolled across the yard, lifting dirt in thin spirals. The creature's breathing quickened. The stranger whispered urgently, "If he stays in this trough, he dies. If he goes with him, he dies. Only one choice left." The girl looked up. "What choice?" The stranger gazed toward the mountains. "We run." The cowboy exhaled sharply. "With that thing." "With that child," the stranger corrected, "or he won't see another sunrise." The girl clutched the creature gently. "He wants to live." The cowboy stared at them, girl, stranger, trembling newborn, then at the furious man blocking the path to escape, and that was when the ground vibrated, just once, like something massive shifting beneath the earth. The trough water exploded upward. Something else had awakened. Water sprayed into the air like shattered glass, cold drops striking the girl's cheeks as she shielded the trembling child against her chest. The cowboy grabbed her shoulder, pulling her back instinctively. The stranger stumbled, coughing, while the larger man froze, eyes widening in sudden fear. The earth rumbled again, low, steady, like a giant shifting under the soil. "What did you bring here?" the cowboy shouted. The stranger shook his head. "Not me, him." He pointed at the newborn. "What does that mean?" "He woke something," the stranger whispered. The trough vibrated. Water sloshed over the edges as fine cracks split along its inner walls. The girl clutched the child tighter. "He's scared," she said. "So am I," the cowboy muttered. The larger man snarled. "Give him to me now." "No," the girl answered. "He is mine by blood." "Blood means nothing," she whispered, "if the heart rejects it." The larger man lunged forward. The cowboy blocked him with a hard step. "Back off." "You defend monsters." "I defend the living," the cowboy replied. The ground pulsed again, stronger this time. Dust jumped. A nearby fence post rattled. Horses in the far corral reared and screamed, hooves pounding against dry earth. The stranger's eyes widened. "He's calling," he whispered. "Calling what?" "His people." The cowboy turned sharply. "They're coming here." "Maybe," the stranger said. "Or maybe only one made it." The girl looked down at the newborn. "Why call now?" "He sensed danger," the stranger answered. "He sensed—" He looked at the larger man. "Death." The larger man spat into the dust. "Ritual nonsense. He's just weak." The girl shook her head. "He's warning us." Another tremor rolled beneath them, stronger than the last. A bucket near the barn toppled from a hook, crashing onto the ground. Chickens burst from hiding, wings flapping wildly. The cowboy tightened his grip on the pry bar. "Something's moving underground." "Yes," the stranger breathed. "A protector." The larger man scoffed. "Fairy tales." The stranger stared at him. "You chained a protector's child. So now the earth answers." The girl whispered, "It's near." A thick line split across the dirt, thin at first, then widening with a slow groan. Dry soil crumbled as something pressed from below, pushing upward. The cowboy stepped in front of the girl. "Get back." "I won't leave him," she said. "I didn't ask you to," he said softly. Then he tightened his stance. The dirt heaved. A mound lifted, cracked apart, then fell away as something dark and wet broke the surface. A hand, broad and stone-colored, fingers ending in smooth, rounded tips like river-worn rock. The larger man staggered back. "What is that?" the stranger whispered. "His kin." A second hand emerged, then an arm, then the top of a head, rounded, glistening, ridged like something shaped by centuries of water pressure. The newborn chirped weakly, a tiny sound of recognition. The cowboy's voice dropped. "It's coming for him." "Yes," the stranger said, "because he called." The creature pulled itself from the earth, tall, powerful, covered in mineral-like plates that shimmered under the morning sun. Water pooled at its feet, seeping from its skin as though it carried a river inside it. It rose to full height, towering over all of them, its golden eyes fixed on the newborn. The girl felt the child's heartbeat hammer against her palms. "Do I give him?" she whispered. The cowboy looked torn. "I don't know." The creature stepped forward, slow, deliberate, each stride sending ripples through the trough water. The larger man lifted a knife from his belt. "Stay back, it's cursed." The creature's gaze snapped toward him. He froze under the weight of it. The newborn made a soft, cooing sound. The girl lifted him slightly. "He knows this one," she whispered. The cowboy hesitated, breathing hard. "If that thing wanted to kill us," he murmured, "we'd be dead already." The stranger nodded. "He's here to take the child home." The larger man screamed, "No!" and lunged forward with the knife raised high. The creature moved faster than thought. Its hand slammed into the ground, launching a shockwave that knocked everyone off their feet. The cowboy crashed to one knee. The girl fell backward, curling around the child to shield him. Dust exploded upward in a choking cloud. The larger man flew sideways, landing in a heap, knife skidding across the yard. The creature growled, a deep, resonant sound like water rushing through a canyon. The girl coughed, eyes stinging from dust. "He's protecting the child," she said. The cowboy struggled to stand. "Protecting him from who?" She pointed weakly. "From him." The larger man pushed himself upright, face twisted with rage. "He is mine," he roared. The creature turned fully toward him, eyes narrowing, chest rising. The cowboy whispered, "This ends now." But he was wrong, because the ground shook again, harder, this time from the mountain ridge behind the ranch. The stranger looked up, terror spreading across his face. "That's not the protector," he whispered. The cowboy frowned. "Then what is it?" The stranger swallowed hard. "That is the one who wants him dead." And from the far ridge, a second figure appeared, tall, fast, descending the slope with impossible speed, and it was coming straight for them. Dust billowed from the ridge as the shape tore down the slope, leaner than the protector, faster than any man should run. The cowboy squinted into the rising glare. "That's no relative," he muttered. The stranger paled. "He's the hunter." The girl held the newborn closer. "Why hunt a child?" "Tradition," the stranger whispered. The protector turned toward the ridge, posture stiffening, plates along its arms shifting like tightening armor. A low rumble rose from its chest, vibrating through the ground. The larger man scrambled backward, terror creeping into his voice. "No, no, not him, not now." The cowboy glanced at him sharply. "You know that one?" The man shook his head violently. "No man should—" The hunter reached the bottom of the slope in seconds, landing hard enough to send a shock through the earth. Dust swirled around him, cloak snapping, boots digging deep into dry soil. He stood as tall as the protector but built differently. Lean lines, bone markings etched into his skin, eyes burning red like sun on copper. The girl whispered, "He smells of fire." The stranger nodded. "They come in pairs. One protects. One destroys." "Why destroy?" "To keep balance," he said. "If a child weakens the line, they end it." The cowboy tightened his grip on the pry bar. "Not happening here." The protector stepped in front of the girl, towering between her and the hunter, shielding her with a full-body wall of stone-bright armor. The newborn whimpered, burrowing against her chest. The hunter pointed a long staff toward the protector. "Step aside," he commanded. The girl stiffened at the sharp metallic voice. The protector didn't move. The cowboy called out, "You're not killing anyone." The hunter tilted his head. "You protect the ruined." "He's not ruined," the girl said. "He is," the hunter replied. "He was born incomplete. He threatens the river line." The stranger stepped forward. "He's not incomplete. He's—" The hunter hissed. "You stole what was meant to drown." The girl recoiled. "Drown?" "Yes," the hunter said. "Newborns unfit for the current are returned to it." The cowboy spat into the dust. "That's murder." The hunter's eyes flashed. "That is survival." The protector lowered its stance. The ground under its feet cracked. The cowboy whispered to the girl, "When they clash, run." She shook her head. "He'll chase us." "Maybe. But staying here kills you." The stranger coughed hard, nearly collapsing. "They won't stop until one falls." The hunter lifted his staff. "This land is not yours," he said. "It belongs to the river." "We're nowhere near a river," the cowboy grumbled. "Wrong," the hunter growled. "You stand on its memory." The ground trembled. Shallow fissures split the dirt, weaving toward the trough. Cold air rose from below. The girl whispered, "The earth is crying." "No," the stranger said. "It's choosing." Suddenly, the protector lunged. The ground thundered with the force of stone-meeting speed. The protector slammed into the hunter, sending a shockwave across the yard. The cowboy shielded the girl as debris flew. The larger man screamed and dove behind a feed cart. The two beings crashed into the barn wall, splintering old boards. Dust exploded outward. Hooves of frightened livestock hammered inside the corral. The girl clutched the child tightly. "He's shaking." "He feels their pain." "He'll feel worse if we stay," the cowboy said. The stranger grabbed the cowboy's arm. "You can't outrun him." "We don't need to," the cowboy shot back. "We just need a moment." The protector stumbled as the hunter struck with the staff, sending sparks of blue-white light scattering across the barnyard. The creature roared, plates cracking along one shoulder. The girl gasped. "They're hurting him." "He's fighting for the child," the stranger whispered. The hunter swung again. The protector blocked, barely. The force sent a tremor through the trough water, splashing cold droplets over the girl's feet. The newborn cried, a thin, soft wail. The hunter paused. He turned, his gaze locked on the girl holding the child. He lowered his staff slowly. The cowboy stepped forward. "Don't even think about it." The hunter ignored him. "You carry the flawed one," he said to the girl. "He belongs to the river." The girl shook her head. "He belongs to life." "To suffering," the hunter replied. "To burden, to imbalance." The protector rose behind him, staggering but ready to strike again. The stranger whispered, "He won't kill you first, he'll take the child." "He'll have to come through me," the cowboy growled. The hunter's eyes narrowed. "That can be arranged." He stepped forward. The protector roared and lunged at him. The ground buckled under the impact. Boards snapping, dust flying, metal tools rattling against walls. The girl screamed as the shockwave knocked her backward. The cowboy grabbed her arm to steady her. The newborn wailed, clinging to her skin. The stranger pointed shakily. Look at the trough." The cowboy turned. The trough water wasn't just rippling now, it was rising. Lifting upward in a column, shimmering, swirling, spinning like a serpent made of cold light. The girl gasped, voice trembling. "It's not water anymore." The cowboy whispered, "Then what is it?" The column twisted sharply toward them, and something inside it reached out. The column of water stretched higher, swirling like a rope pulled by invisible hands. Cold mist rolled across the yard. The girl held the newborn against her heart, feeling his tiny body tremble as the shape inside the column pushed outward again. A hand, small, glowing, fluid, pressed against the rising wall of water. The cowboy backed up sharply. "That's not natural," the stranger whispered. "It's his call, his blood." The girl stared, wide-eyed. "He's answering someone." The protector staggered under a heavy strike from the hunter's staff. The clash shook loose boards from the barn roof. Dust rained down, yet even mid-battle the protector turned one eye toward the water column, sensing its presence. The hunter saw it too, and narrowed his gaze. "No," he hissed, "he cannot rise." The cowboy stepped in front of the girl. "What's rising?" The stranger swallowed. "His twin." The girl gasped. "He has another." "Yes," the stranger said. "He was born with one." Inside the swirling water, the glowing hand pressed again, stronger. A faint outline of a second small form appeared, suspended within the spiraling current. The girl whispered, "He's calling his brother." The cowboy muttered, "Then this just got worse." The hunter lunged forward, fury burning in his posture. "Stop that," he roared. "Stop the rise." The protector intercepted him, colliding hard enough to shake the ground. The girl flinched. "They can't hold long." The water column twisted violently. A crackling ring sounded, like river ice breaking under weight. The newborn reached his small hand toward the column. The twin inside reached back. The girl gasped softly. "They feel each other." The cowboy shook his head. "Then they'll kill each other at this rate." "No," the stranger said. "They complete each other." The hunter snarled at the sight. They complete nothing. Two will unbalance the line. One must fall. The hunter broke from the protector's grip and sprinted toward the trough. The girl stepped forward without fear. You stay back. The hunter lifted his staff. I choose who lives. No, she said calmly. The earth chooses. The ground buckled beneath the hunter's feet, cracking sharply. He stumbled. The protector seized the opening and slammed into him again, driving them both into a pile of old beams. The water column rose higher. The twin inside pushed harder. A faint cry echoed from within, like a newborn calling across a deep canyon. The cowboy stared at the stranger. Why were they separated? The stranger trembled. Because one was meant to drown. The girl's voice cracked. Why him? Because he was born early, the stranger whispered. He couldn't breathe water yet. The girl tightened her hold on the child. He breathes fear now. Yes, the stranger said. And hope. The twin inside the water reached again, this time with both hands, and the column wavered dangerously. The cowboy stepped back. This thing going to explode? No, the stranger said. It's going to break. A thunderous crack split the column. Water streamed outward in wild arcs. The image inside flickered like lightning behind clouds. The protector groaned deeply, pushing the hunter back with shaking arms, but its strength was fading. Cracks spidered across its stone-bright armor. The girl whispered urgently, He can't win. No, the stranger said, not alone. The cowboy raised the pry bar. You're not thinking straight. She shook her head. You see fear, I see family. The protector stumbled. The hunter raised his staff to deliver a killing strike. The water column shattered. A burst of freezing mist rolled across the entire yard, knocking dust flat and driving cold air deep into their lungs. The girl shielded the newborn as a second tiny form fell from the broken column, silent, limp, glistening. The cowboy lunged and caught the tiny body before it struck the ground. Got him, the girl gasped. Is he alive? The cowboy placed a hand on the small chest, a faint flutter, like a heartbeat underwater. He's breathing, the cowboy whispered. The hunter froze mid-strike. The protector looked up weakly. The two newborns, one warm, one cold, both cried at the same moment, a trembling chorus that echoed across the ranch yard. The stranger fell to his knees. They know each other, he whispered. They've always known. The hunter lowered his staff by an inch. This is forbidden, he growled. Twins break the river line. The girl stepped forward. Twins strengthen life. No, he said. They divide it. The protector forced itself upright. They unite it, the stranger whispered. The hunter snapped his gaze toward him. Silence, thief! The protector moved to shield the twins. The hunter snarled at the defiance. The cowboy held the cold twin carefully. What do we do? The stranger said. You must place them together. The girl nodded. Yes. The cowboy hesitated. Put them together. How? In your arms, the stranger whispered, all four hands touching. The hunter roared in protest. No! That awakens the bond. The protector lunged to stop him but stumbled, too wounded. The cowboy looked at the girl. You sure? Her voice shook. They're brothers. Let them find each other. He placed the cold twin in her free arm. The yard went silent. Dust settled. The twins reached for each other with tiny, shaking hands, and the moment their fingers touched, the sky itself changed color. The sky shifted from pale morning blue to a deep, shimmering copper. Clouds twisted into long spirals, glowing from within as if lit by hidden embers. A cold wind swept through the ranch yard, kicking up dust in spirals around the girl and the cowboy. The twins held each other's hands, small fingers locking with surprising strength. The girl gasped. They're warm now. The cowboy nodded, stunned. Feels like lightning. The stranger whispered, It's the bond. The protector lifted its head, weak but alive. The hunter froze, eyes wide as he watched the sky pulse with strange living color. What have you done? He growled. The girl held the twins closer. They did this. The hunter shook his head violently. No, this is forbidden. The stranger answered quietly. Forbidden doesn't mean wrong. Lightning flickered inside the clouds, thin, glowing lines that danced above the ranch. The ground hummed beneath their feet. Even the trough water vibrated softly, responding to the twins' shared heartbeat. The cowboy whispered, "What's happening to them?" The stranger replied, "They're awakening." "Awakening what?" "Their river birthright." The hunter slammed his staff into the dirt. "This ends now." "No," the cowboy said. "You end nothing here." The hunter pointed the staff at the twins. "They draw from the sky. They upset the river. That kills us all." The girl glared. "Life doesn't kill life." The hunter snarled. "You know nothing of balance." The protector crawled slowly forward, armor cracked, body trembling. It placed one large hand on the ground, bowing its head toward the twins. A soft, echoing sound came from its chest. Half chant, half wind. The stranger's eyes filled. "He blesses them," the hunter shouted. "He damns them." Thunder cracked overhead, loud, close, shaking the rafters of the barn. Dust rained down. A wagon wheel tipped over. Horses in the corral screamed and bolted. The girl winced, covering the twins with her body. "They're scared." The cowboy crouched beside her. "I've got you. Hold them." The twins' hands glowed faintly, silver-blue light pulsing like heartbeats. The sky flashed in response down as if echoing the rhythm. The hunter's voice dropped to a deadly whisper. "If their bond completes, the river path changes forever." "Good," the girl said. "Bad," the hunter spat. "It destroys the old ways." The cowboy frowned. "Maybe old ways need destroying." The hunter spun on him. "You speak of what you don't know." "I know enough," the cowboy replied. "And I see fear, not wisdom." The hunter lunged. The protector rose with a roar, forcing its broken body upright, and intercepted the strike. The staff slammed into its chest, sending cracks splintering deeper, but the protector held firm. The girl whispered, "He protects them." "Yes," the stranger said. "He always did." The hunter shoved forward, fury twisting his features. "They're a threat." "They're children," the girl snapped. The protector pushed back with both arms, forcing the hunter away from the twins. Dust exploded around their feet. The cowboy grabbed the girl's shoulder. "When they break apart, run for the barn." She shook her head. "The barn won't stop him." "Then what will?" "The earth," she whispered. The twins tightened their hold on each other. Their tiny chests rose and fell in perfect rhythm. The sky pulsed again, darker now, heavier. The stranger trembled. "They're calling the river memory." "The what?" the cowboy asked. "The river that once ran under this land. Its spirit remains." The hunter heard and howled. "No, not the old river." His voice cracked with panic. The cowboy narrowed his eyes. "Why fear water?" "Because," the stranger whispered, "it chooses truth." The girl held the twins close, her voice steady. "They choose life." "No," the hunter growled. "They choose judgment." The ground vibrated. A deep rumble rolled beneath them, shaking fence posts and rattling barn doors. A thin crack opened in the dirt beneath the trough, stretching outward like a long vein. The cowboy stepped back. "What now?" the stranger whispered. "They're opening it." "Opening what?" But before he could answer, the crack widened. A thin stream of glowing water, silver blue like the twins' hands, rose from the earth, swirling like mist. The wind shifted, colder. The hunter screamed, "Stop this!" He charged, breaking away from the protector. The protector grabbed his leg, but slipped, too weak to hold. The hunter tore free and sprinted toward the girl and the twins. The cowboy lifted his pry bar. "Over my dead body!" "Move!" the hunter snarled. "Not happening!" the cowboy barked. The hunter swung the staff. The cowboy blocked with both arms. The shock knocked him backward into the dirt. The hunter reached for the twins. The girl stepped in front of them, shaking but unmoving. "You will not touch them." The hunter raised his staff overhead, ready to strike. The earth gave one final, violent tremor. The glowing water shot upward from the crack in a massive surge and wrapped around the hunter's legs like living chains. His scream echoed across the ranch. The hunter's scream tore through the cold air. The glowing water tightened, spiraling around his legs like ropes forged from moonlight. He tried to pull free, but each struggle only made the water grip harder. The cowboy scrambled to his feet. "What is that stuff?" the stranger whispered. "The old river." The girl held the twins close. "They called it—" The hunter slammed his staff into the ground. Sparks flew. The glowing water hissed but didn't release him. He swung again, wild, furious, but the liquid chain surged higher, climbing his torso. "Stop!" he roared. "They judge you," the stranger said quietly. "They punish harm." The hunter snarled back. "I protect tradition." The girl shook her head. "You protect fear." The protector crawled forward, battered and barely standing, its cracked armor shedding faint chips of stone. It reached toward the twins with trembling hands, then toward the glowing water, as if recognizing an ancient force. The cowboy pulled the girl behind him. "Stay close." "They're not after us," she whispered. "How can you know?" "Water listens," she said. "Not to lies." The hunter tried one last time to break free. He roared, "Release me!" The glowing water surged upward, covering his chest, then his arms. The staff slipped from his grasp and clattered across the dirt. The cowboy whispered, "Is it going to drown him?" The stranger answered, "It doesn't drown, it reveals." "Reveals what?" "The truth he hides." A low hum rose from the water, steady, rhythmic, like an old song carried on river currents long forgotten. The hunter's face twisted in panic as the water pulsed brighter. "What's it doing?" the cowboy asked. The stranger's eyes darkened. "It's reading him." Suddenly the hunter froze. His eyes widened in shock. He gasped, as if seeing something no one else could. The girl stepped forward. "What does he see?" "Everything he fears," the stranger whispered, "and everything he's done." The cowboy kept his pry bar raised. "Is it hurting him?" "No," the stranger said. "It's showing him himself." The water rose to the hunter's chin. He screamed again, this time not in anger, but in despair. "No, no, I didn't. I had to." The protector watched silently, its golden eyes dim but focused. The girl rocked the twins gently. "They don't like his fear." "They sense guilt," the stranger said. "They sense shame." The hunter thrashed again. "I followed the law." The water tightened. "You broke the heart," the girl whispered. The sky pulsed, matching the twins' breath. The copper glow shifted to a soft silver. The cowboy frowned. "What now?" The stranger shook his head. "I don't know this part." The glowing water suddenly shifted, loosening, then rearranging. It flowed down the hunter's body, forming a thick ring around his waist. He gasped for air. The girl whispered, "It spared him." "For now," the stranger said. "But it marks him." The cowboy frowned. "Marks?" "Yes," the stranger said, pointing. "Look." Around the hunter's waist, the glowing water left a faint, shimmering band, like a scar made of moonlight. As the liquid retreated into the crack in the earth, the band remained, pulsing faintly. The hunter staggered back, staring at the mark in horror. What have you done to me?" The stranger answered, "The river judged you." The girl added softly, "And it didn't choose death." The protector breathed slowly, relief in its posture. But the hunter wasn't finished. His eyes snapped to the twins. "They cannot live," he rasped. "They will break everything." The cowboy stepped toward him. "You're done here." "Not until the river's line is restored," the hunter spat. "You can't stop fate." The protector rose fully this time, shaking but determined. It placed itself between the hunter and the twins. The hunter reached for his staff, breathing raggedly. He lifted it with trembling hands. "I will finish this." The stranger stepped forward. "You're marked. You can't harm them now." The hunter snarled, "Watch me." He raised the staff high, pointing it at the twins. The sky dimmed. Wind roared across the ranch. Dust spiraled upward in twisting columns. The cowboy shielded the girl again. "Get down." The protector braced, arms spread wide. The twins clung to each other. The glowing mark around the hunter's waist pulsed. Once, twice, 3 times. He screamed as if seared by unseen fire and dropped the staff. It hit the ground with a clang. The girl gasped. "The mark stops him." Yes, the stranger breathed, but only if he attacks directly. The cowboy frowned. What's that mean? It means, the stranger whispered, he'll find another way. The hunter stumbled backward, eyes wild, calculating. He wasn't beaten, only delayed. The cowboy tightened his stance. What's he planning? The stranger's face drained of color. He's going to break the protector. The girl's breath hitched. No. Yes, the stranger said. He'll kill what he can. The cowboy turned toward the protector. The hunter was already charging, not toward the twins, but toward the weakened guardian. The protector tried to rise, but staggered. The girl screamed, "Stop!" The hunter leapt, and something enormous moved beneath the earth again. A deeper rumble, a louder crack. The ground split open behind the protector, and another shape began to rise. The crack widened with a deep groan, sending dust pouring into the air. Splinters of dry soil shot upward as something massive pushed from below. The protector turned weakly, trying to steady itself, but the earth shook too violently. The cowboy grabbed the girl's arm. "Get back!" She clutched the twins tighter. "No, it's coming for them." The stranger whispered, "Not them, him." A huge silhouette rose from the fissure, taller than the protector, broader, its body glistening with cold mineral sheen. Its skin looked like river rock carved by centuries of water. Thin streams trickled from its joints, as though it carried an entire current inside. The girl's breath shook. "That's not another protector." The stranger nodded slowly. "No, that's judgment." The hunter froze mid-charge. His fury vanished, replaced by sheer terror. No, not the elder." The cowboy frowned. "Elder?" the stranger whispered. "He is the river's memory." The elder being lifted its head. Its eyes, pale silver with no pupils, glowed like moonlight on deep water. When it exhaled, the wind chilled instantly. The hunter stumbled backward. "I'm marked. You can't touch me." The elder ignored him. The protector bowed its head weakly. Plates shifted with exhaustion. The girl whispered, "He respects it." "Yes," the stranger said. "He serves it." The cowboy raised his pry bar. "What's this one want?" The stranger swallowed. "To decide fate." The elder turned slowly toward the girl. Her knees wobbled, but she held the twins close. "They're shaking," she whispered. "They feel his power." The elder stepped forward, each footfall sinking deep into the ground, leaving impressions that filled instantly with shimmering water. The air thickened with cold. The cowboy stepped in front of the girl. "You don't touch them." The elder didn't even look at him. He lifted one massive hand, rough, ancient, carved by time, and pointed toward the twins. The girl's heart pounded. "Is he here to take them?" The stranger hesitated. "No, he's here to test them." A low rumble rolled across the ranch yard. Dust rose in a circle around them as if caught in a silent whirlwind. The elder lowered both hands toward the earth. Suddenly, thin streams of glowing water shot upward through cracks in the ground, forming a ring around the girl, the cowboy, the twins, and the two river beings. The barrier shimmered like a living curtain. The cowboy muttered, "Looks like we're trapped." "Yes," the stranger said. "He isolates truth." The hunter screamed from outside the ring, "You can't do this." "They'll ruin the line." The elder turned its head slightly, only slightly. The hunter fell silent immediately. The girl whispered, "He can't even speak." "He shouldn't," the stranger said. "He lied to the river." The elder stepped closer. The protector struggled upright, trying to shield the twins again, but the elder touched its chest gently. The protector crumpled to its knees, not harmed, just subdued. The cowboy whispered. "He stopped him without force." "He commands the current," the stranger said, "not violence." The elder extended a massive hand. The twins reached back. The girl gasped. "They're not scared." "Because he's kin," the stranger murmured. The cowboy hesitated. "What's he going to do?" "Judge them," the stranger said. "Together." The elder lowered his hand closer, stopping just above the twins' tiny fingers. A faint glow pulsed between them, soft, rhythmic, like two heartbeats merging into one. The ground hummed. Fence posts vibrated. The trough water rippled in wide circles. The girl held her breath. "They're answering him." They must, the stranger said. It's the only way. Suddenly, the elder exhaled, a long, powerful breath that sounded like a waterfall in a canyon. The ring of glowing water surged upward. The cowboy shielded the girl. The protector covered its face. The hunter fell to his knees. The stranger bowed his head. The glow enveloped the twins completely. The girl screamed, "No!" The cowboy grabbed her shoulders. "It's okay. Hold on. I can't see them." "They're still here," he said. Then, silence. The glow faded. The twins floated gently above the girl's arms, eyes closed, bodies glowing faint blue. The elder watched them without moving. The cowboy whispered, "Are they alive?" "Yes," the stranger breathed. "Changed, but alive." Suddenly, the twins' eyes opened, silver, bright, identical. They reached toward each other again, this time with newfound strength, and the air between them sparked with thin lines of light. The elder leaned forward slowly. The girl whispered, "What happens now?" The stranger answered, voice trembling, "If he accepts them, the river chooses a new path." "And if he doesn't?" the cowboy asked. The stranger swallowed. "Then the ground takes them back." The elder raised his hand, and the ranch yard floor began to sink beneath the girl's feet. Dust slid downward, cracks spread outward, the trough tilted. The cowboy grabbed the girl. "Hold on!" But the ground kept falling, bit by bit, as if the earth itself was swallowing them whole. The judgment had begun. The ground dipped sharply, pulling dust and loose stones downward. The girl gasped as her boots slid toward the widening depression. She clutched the twins tighter, fighting gravity. The cowboy grabbed her arm with one hand and a fence post with the other. "Hold on," he shouted. "I'm slipping," she cried. "I've got you," he said. But the ground kept sagging, as if the earth turned to soft sand beneath them. The trough tilted, water spilling down the sinking circle. The stranger stumbled, falling to his knees outside the ring. "This is the trial!" he yelled. The cowboy grunted. "What does he want?" "To see who protects," the stranger replied. The elder stood perfectly still. His silver eyes glowed brighter. The protector bowed its head, accepting the trial without resistance. The hunter backed away, fear twisting his face. "You can't make me watch this." The elder didn't turn. The girl dug her heels into the ground, clutching the twins as the slope pulled harder. "They're scared," she whispered. "They feel fear," the stranger said. "They must feel trust." The cowboy struggled to pull her upward. "This is insane." "No," the stranger said. "This is ancient." The depression widened, forming a shallow pit. The earth crumbled around its edges. Cold mist rose from below, carrying the scent of deep water. The air vibrated like distant thunder. The girl looked at the cowboy with pleading eyes. "Don't let them fall." "I won't," he said. The elder lowered his hand a little more. The ground dropped another foot. The girl yelped as she nearly lost her balance. The cowboy tightened his grip, muscles straining. The stranger shouted up at the elder, "They're children! Show mercy!" The elder remained unmoving, carved from time itself. The hunter found his voice again. "He won't spare them." "Twins, break the flow." The elder finally turned his head, just slightly, and the hunter collapsed to his knees, choking on his own fear. The girl held the twins close. "They're shaking," she whispered. "Speak to them," the stranger urged. "I don't know how." "You do," he said softly. She took a trembling breath. "We're here," she whispered to the infants. "We hold together. Always." The twins' glowing hands tightened around each other. The ground slowed its sinking. The cowboy blinked. "What did you do?" The stranger answered, "Showed unity. The trial listens." The elder tilted his head. The sinking stopped, but the pit did not rise. The cowboy exhaled. "Is it over?" "No," the stranger whispered. "This is only half." A shockwave rippled beneath them, not downward this time, outward. A ring of cracks shot across the yard, circling the trial pit like claws spreading through dust. Barnboards rattled. The protector crouched, bracing itself. The girl held the twins tighter. "What now?" "Second test," the stranger said. The cowboy shouted, "Second, already!" "Yes," the stranger yelled. "He tests the guardian." The elder raised his other hand. The pit stopped sinking, and the cowboy's grip suddenly slipped. The girl screamed as her boots slid again. She fell forward into the pit's deeper center. The cowboy lunged after her, catching the edge with one hand. "I've got you!" Her fingers clawed into the dirt. "Don't drop me." "I won't." But the ground beneath him crumbled. He slipped another inch. The twins cried. Sharp, panicked wails. Their glow brightened. The elder stepped closer, studying the cowboy's struggle. The protector crawled weakly toward the pit, but could not enter. The stranger shouted, "He tests him!" "The land tests the outlander." "What test?" the cowboy yelled. "Worthiness." "Of what?" "The river's bond." The cowboy gritted his teeth. "I'm not part of the river." But the elder raised his hand again, and the ground shook harder. The pit deepened another inch. The cowboy slipped farther. The girl's grip weakened. "Don't let go," she cried. "I won't," he shouted again. The twins' glow intensified, lighting the pit in pale blue. The stranger stared at them. "They choose him," he whispered. "They ask him to stay." The cowboy trembled under the weight of the shifting earth. "I'm trying." "You have to hold us," the girl said. "I know." "You have to mean it." "I do." The ground cracked louder. The cowboy's boots slid an inch toward the drop. He snarled with effort, pulled upward, and lifted the girl just enough that her feet found new ground. The pit stopped sinking completely. The elder lowered his hand. The girl collapsed into the cowboy's chest, shaking. "You saved us," she whispered. "Always," he said softly. A quiet hum filled the pit. Warm, gentle. The sound of approval. The stranger's breath caught. He passed. But the trial wasn't finished. The elder turned slowly toward the hunter, who tried to crawl backward. "No," the hunter whispered. "Not me. I obeyed tradition. I followed law." A crack opened beneath him, thin at first, then wider. The cowboy shouted, "Leave him! Haven't we seen enough?" The stranger hissed. "He must face truth." The elder raised one finger. The crack snapped open beneath the hunter, and a cold, silver light rose up from the depths, wrapping around his legs again. He screamed. The twins cried in response. The girl held them gently. "They feel pain," she said. "Not his," the stranger answered. "The world's." The cowboy frowned. "What do you mean?" The stranger's eyes widened in sudden horror. "This is not the final test." The cowboy stiffened. "What is?" The stranger pointed toward the horizon, toward a gathering wall of dark, heavy clouds rolling in fast. He whispered, "The storm chooses the outcome." The cowboy squinted. "That isn't weather." "No," the stranger said. "It's the river's sky." Lightning flashed across the approaching wall. Thunder boomed, deep, ancient. The girl gasped. "The storm, and it's alive." The stranger nodded. "And it's coming straight for us." The storm roared across the horizon, swallowing light as it came. It wasn't normal cloud. Its surface curled like waves, rising and collapsing in silent fury. Lightning flashed inside it. Not downward, but sideways, like veins of living silver. The girl held the twins close. "They're trembling." The cowboy lifted his pry bar. "That storm isn't natural," the stranger whispered. "It carries judgment." The protector bowed its head, bracing against the wind. The elder stepped forward, facing the oncoming storm without fear. The hunter writhed on the ground, still bound by silver light, screaming as the mark pulsed again. The cowboy shouted over the wind, "What happens when it hits?" The stranger answered, "It decides who stays." "Stays where?" "Here," he said. "In life." The girl shook her head. "But they're children." "Yes," the stranger said, "and children shape futures." Darkness swept over half the ranch yard. The storm wall drew closer, bending trees, rattling barn boards, shaking the trough until water sloshed wildly. The cowboy pulled the girl behind him. "Stay low." "They're scared," she whispered. "I know," he said. "Hold tight." The storm rolled a few yards closer and then stopped, frozen in the sky. Motionless, watching. The cowboy frowned. "Why'd it stop?" the stranger whispered. "It waits for the elder." The elder lifted his massive hands. Silver lines glowed across his arms, shining brighter with each heartbeat of the twins. The storm responded, curling inward, condensing into a tight wall of glowing vapor. The girl whispered, "They're connected." "Yes," the stranger said. "By birthright." The hunter screamed again. "You can't let them choose. They'll destroy everything." The cowboy glared at him. "You've done enough." The elder lowered his hands toward the twins. The girl stiffened. "What's he doing?" "He tests their unity," the stranger said. "If they separate, the storm takes them." The cowboy growled. "Not happening." Wind surged around them, violent, circling, lifting dust into spinning rings. The twins cried louder, gripping each other with tiny glowing fingers. The girl held them close. "Stay together," she whispered. "Don't let go." Their glow brightened, silver blue like moonlit riverstones. The protector crawled between them and the storm, body shaking but determined. It spread its cracked arms as if shielding them from a mountain. The stranger gasped. "He chooses them over the elder." The cowboy frowned. "Is that allowed?" "No," he said. "It is love." The elder's eyes narrowed, not angry, but curious. He extended his hands again, forming a wide circle of silver light around the protector, the cowboy, the girl, and the twins. The cowboy muttered, "What now?" The stranger whispered, "The final test begins." The storm surged forward, stopped, then pressed again, pushing against the invisible barrier around the group. The girl stumbled as wind slammed into her. "They can't hold." "They must," the stranger shouted. "The world shifts with them." The elder turned his palms upward. The ground beneath the twins rose like a small mound, lifting the girl with them. The cowboy kept a tight hold on her, refusing to let her slip. The twins hovered inches above her arms, still touching, still glowing. The cowboy gasped, "They're floating." "It's their bond," the stranger said. "The river sees it." The storm howled louder. The ranch yard shook. Boards from the barn ripped free and flew into the air. The trough shattered completely, water spilling in a wide arc around the trial pit. The protector tried to stand but collapsed, too weak to continue. The elder watched it for a long, silent moment, then raised his hand toward the storm. The storm recoiled. The cowboy blinked. "He controls it." "Yes," the stranger said, "but only through them." The twins cried again, louder now, almost calling. Their glow spread outward, touching the elder's hands. The storm shuddered, shrinking in on itself like a wounded beast. The hunter screamed in rage, "You can't let twins survive! They break the river!" The elder turned his eyes toward him. A beam of silver light shot from the elder's hand, striking the mark on the hunter's waist, and the hunter collapsed, convulsing, unable to speak. The cowboy swallowed hard. "What did he do?" the stranger whispered. "He silenced his lies." Wind struck the group again, harder, swirling dust around them like a tornado forming at ground level. The cowboy shielded the girl with his whole body. The mound raised higher, lifting the twins above everyone's heads. "I can't reach them," the girl cried. "They're not meant to be reached," the stranger said. "They're choosing." The twins stopped crying. They opened their silver eyes, perfectly glowing, and stared directly at the storm. The storm hesitated. The cowboy whispered, What are they doing?" "Speaking," the stranger said. "With their hearts." A pulse of blue light shot from their tiny hands. The storm absorbed it, shuddered, folded inward like collapsing wings, and then roared louder than ever. The elder braced. The protector hid its face. The cowboy held the girl tightly. The twins glowed brighter, 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 and the storm swallowed all color from the sky. Darkness fell. Cold wind screamed. Dust spiraled upward in violent columns. Something enormous moved inside the storm wall. The girl whispered, "What is that?" The stranger gasped. His voice cracked with fear. "That is the river's verdict." The storm twisted inward, pulling its own clouds like a giant fist clenching around hidden power. Silver lightning spiraled in tight circles. The girl shielded the twins with her arms, even as they continued to glow brighter than the sky. The cowboy held her waist firmly. "Hold steady!" "I'm trying," They feel the storm. So do I. The stranger stared in horror at the storm's shifting center. It's forming a shape. The cowboy squinted. A person. No, the stranger whispered. A spirit. The storm parted. A towering, translucent figure stepped forward, made entirely of water and wind. Its eyes glowed pale white, its body shifting like a river rising after a flood. Every step bent the air. The girl trembled. It sees us. It sees the twins, the stranger murmured, and what they hold. The spirit lifted a massive hand. The air cracked. The cowboy's boots slid across the dirt. The girl screamed, gripping the twins tighter. The elder bowed deeply to the spirit. The protector knelt, cracked armor shaking. Even the hunter, bound by silver scars, gasped in terror. The cowboy shouted over the storm, "What does it want?" The stranger answered, "Truth." Truth of what? Their future. The spirit pointed directly at the girl. Wind slammed into her. She staggered backward, nearly losing her hold on the twins. The cowboy caught her fast. "Stay with me." "I can't." "Yes, you can." The twins lifted higher, held by a force neither human nor riverborn. Their glow pulsed in time with thunder. They faced the spirit without fear. The stranger whispered, "They're speaking again." "What do they say?" "They ask to live." The spirit responded with a roar that shook the ranch. The ground cracked under the force. Fence posts snapped. The last boards of the barn tore loose and scattered. The cowboy shouted, "Why is it angry?" "Because twins threaten its laws," the stranger said, "but also prove them wrong." The girl's voice broke. "They just want life." The spirit turned its gaze toward her, a long, studying stare. Then it lifted its hand again, directing a swirling column of air toward the mound beneath the twins. The earth rose higher. The twins floated above them all now, glowing, gripping each other. The spirit extended both hands outward. Silver lines crawled through the clouds. The stranger paled. "He's preparing the river's judgment." "What is that?" the cowboy demanded. "The twins must pass it, or vanish." The protector lurched to its feet, roaring with defiance. "No!" the stranger shouted. "You can't fight a storm." But the protector tried anyway. It charged toward the spirit, every movement painful, armor cracking, yet filled with desperate force. The spirit flicked its hand. A blast of wind sent the protector flying across the yard. It crashed into a broken wagon wheel and lay still. The girl sobbed. "He will die." "Yes," the stranger whispered. "He dies for them." The cowboy gritted his teeth. "This ends now." He stepped in front of the girl, facing the spirit with the pry bar raised. Small, fragile, human. The stranger yelled, "You can't fight that." "I'm not fighting," the cowboy said. "I'm standing." The spirit lowered its gaze to the cowboy, curious, surprised. Wind circled him but did not strike. The stranger stared. "He recognizes loyalty." "He better," the cowboy muttered. The spirit lifted both hands toward the twins again. The mound shook violently. The twins cried, sharp, piercing cries. The girl screamed, "Stop! They're babies!" The twins tightened their tiny hands, silver light surging through them like intertwined lightning. The storm clouds above trembled. The stranger gasped. "They resist!" the cowboy yelled. "Hold together!" The spirit hesitated. For the first time, the elder stepped forward between them, slow, deliberate. He placed one massive hand on the girl's shoulder. She froze. What does he want?" the stranger whispered. "He recognizes her." The elder gently nudged her forward, toward the twins, toward the spirit, toward judgment. The cowboy grabbed her arm. "No, she'll be killed." The elder looked at him, and the earth stopped shaking. The stranger whispered, "He chooses her as witness." "To what?" "To the river's future." The girl stepped onto the mound, her feet sinking into glowing soil, her breath shaking, her heart pounding. "I'm here," she whispered to the twins. "I won't leave." The twins opened their glowing eyes. The storm stilled. The spirit lowered its hands. Every voice, every sound, every movement froze. The girl placed her palm on the twins' tiny hands. She whispered, "Choose life." The twins' glow surged, blinding, brilliant, pure. The spirit recoiled, just an inch. The elder bowed. The hunter screamed. The protector rose on shaking legs. The cowboy stepped forward, and the sky split open. A beam of pure silver light shot downward, engulfing the mound, the girl, the cowboy, the twins, and everything vanished inside the storm. The silver light folded inward like a closing river. Then quiet, no wind, no thunder, no storm, just stillness. The girl blinked slowly as the glow faded around her. She stood in the center of the ranch yard, the earth now smooth beneath her feet. The cowboy stood beside her, breathing hard, dust coating his coat. The twins rested gently in her arms, warm, soft, alive. Their glow gone, just babies now. The cowboy whispered, "You okay?" "Yes," she said softly. "They're calm." He exhaled. "Good. That's good." The protector rose from the shadows, healed. The cracks along its armor were gone. Water shimmered down its arms, pure and steady. It looked at the twins with a gentle bow. The stranger approached, awe flooding his voice. "They're accepted." The girl nodded. "The river chose them." "And you," he added. She frowned. "Why me?" The stranger smiled softly. "You held love without fear." The cowboy tightened his stance, glancing around the quiet ranch yard. "Where'd the storm go?" The stranger lifted a hand toward the mountains, returned to the river sky. "And him?" the cowboy asked, pointing toward the hunter. A small crater remained where the hunter once stood. The glowing band around his waist had vanished. Only a thin line of silver dust marked the ground. "He faced truth," the stranger whispered. The cowboy frowned. "Did he die?" "No," the stranger said gently. "He was carried home." The elder stepped forward. His massive form shimmered like wet stone under sunlight. He lowered his enormous hand toward the girl. She hesitated, then lifted the twins, so the elder could see them. "They're safe," she whispered. The elder bowed, slow and deep, then pressed his fist against the earth. At his touch, water seeped through the ground, turning the cracked soil into a soft, living patch of damp earth. The girl gasped. "A spring?" "Yes," the stranger said. "A gift for them." The cowboy stared in disbelief. "For the ranch." "For the family," the stranger corrected. "For what you saved." The elder turned toward the protector. The two beings faced each other, one ancient, one devoted. They touched foreheads in silent farewell. Then the elder stepped into the springlight. His body dissolved into flowing water, sinking gently into the earth. The protector lingered a moment longer. The girl stepped forward. "You stay?" she asked. The protector lowered its head, kind, grateful, and touched her shoulder with one stone-like hand. Then it too dissolved into shimmering droplets, falling into the new spring. Silence returned. The cowboy took a deep breath. "Well," he murmured, "that's something you don't see every day." The girl laughed softly. "No, not every day." He looked at the twins, small, quiet, peaceful. "They look normal," he said. "They are," she answered, "but also more." He nodded. "I figured." The stranger stepped forward with a gentle smile. "You two shaped a new path." The cowboy shrugged. "Didn't feel like a choice." "Often," the stranger replied. "The river chooses before we do." He looked at the girl. "You showed heart." "You showed courage," she replied. He nodded toward the cowboy. "And he showed loyalty." The cowboy rolled his shoulders. "Just did what was right." "That," the stranger said, "is why the storm spared you." A soft breeze drifted across the ranch yard, carrying a faint scent of fresh water, pure, clean, new. The girl gazed at the horizon, the newborn spring glistening at her feet. "We start over," she whispered. "Yes," the cowboy said gently. "Together." She held the twins close. "That's enough," she said. "That's everything," he replied. They stood side by side as the sun rose over the ridge, warming the newborn water, filling the ranch with a quiet promise. A new river had begun. A new family had too. If this story moved you, imagine what we'll uncover next. The West is filled with untold legends, hidden spirits, and ordinary people who rise to extraordinary moments, just like the cowboy who refused to back down and the Apache girl who protected the impossible. Every episode brings a new emotional journey, a mystery waiting to be solved, and a heartbeat you can feel through the screen. Don't miss what comes after this one.